What's up, guys, and welcome to another Hungover podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Julien, alongside my lovely co-host,
Nikki.
Yes, fuck you, Yvonne. You're not part of this podcast anymore.
I told you I'm coming.
All right,
for you, bruh.
All right, dude. You missed enough episodes. I think Yvonne is still away, and we're still talking about that for some reason.
Because we're real salty in this apartment. Real salty.
Yvonne will come back eventually. If you're just tuning in for the first time, Yvonne is the actual co-host of this podcast, but he has been away for the past month or so. Mm-hmm. So I have had my lovely girlfriend fill in for him. And of course, this is the Topical Podcast, where we cover everything from video games to politics to today's topic of the show, which is actually what it's like to work in a lab, specifically my experience working in a national lab, and Nikki's probably experience, if you want to talk at all about, you worked in a lab as well.
A less formal lab, but
yes.
I've been on research projects before.
Right, so that is what we're going to talk about for the topic of the show, but of course you can get this podcast on iTunes, in audio form,
in cloud form,
also probably cloud form too. You can stream it, but also you can get it on SoundCloud as well. And if you'd like to find it in video form, you can check us out on YouTube, and it would be amazing. I have not recorded one of these podcasts in a while. I've been going on some stock footage. All right. It would be really amazing if you guys left us an iTunes review, because that really helps with our visibility.
Some people have already.
Yeah, wow,
so
finally.
That I don't have to get
finally,
the sass.
I finally,
the salty sass that someone
you know what?
Me.
I still can't say I've seen it. So, and I check.
It didn't post? Are you kidding me?
I don't know. I haven't checked.
You're
recently.
a dick.
No, I do check very often, and once it actually shows up. It's so weird when iTunes chooses to update your page. I'm not sure. If you like to hear a podcast about making a podcast, we can do that as well. But of course, Nikki, we start our podcast off every single week asking each other, what media have you been consuming, whether it be video games, music, movies, TV shows, books, etc.
I've been consuming.
And also, what did you drink last night, if anything at all?
Well, last night I had some beers. Some beer. Like a classy lady that I am. Drank some beer while I sat on the internet. But I've been...
sit on the internet. You were surfing the internet.
Nah, I put my laptop under my butt and I just sat. In the last week, I have watched all 4 seasons of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
How is it?
It is really funny.
Jesus Christ, you do not need it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. It is really funny. I wasn't sure about it. I'd seen people talking about it, and I thought, I guess I'll watch it.
Who's the main character?
Andy Samberg.
He looks like Adam Sandler, right?
Yeah.
A lot, right?
Adam Sandler actually makes a cameo in one episode.
Oh. Does he just completely replace Andy Samberg?
But he rips on him pretty hard, so it's pretty funny.
It would be funnier if they just completely replaced him, just to see if anyone noticed.
Well, Adam Sandler's like 60 almost at this point, so he really doesn't.
He's
he's pretty
50.
old. Look it up. He's pretty old at this point.
I'll
he's aged poorly.
He has
aged poorly.
Vamp for me. I'll look it up.
All right. So yeah, I've been watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's a diverse cast. It's a really cohesive cast. They have a lot of great energy together. They work well, really. And I like the show. It's not one of those predictable situational comedies.
He was born in 1966. He's 51 years old.
There you go. He looks rough. He looks really rough. But yeah, it's a good show. It's funny. It's not as predictable as you think it is. Like, the episode's got that feeling, like it leads into something and you go, oh, you know how this is going to end up. But, it actually doesn't...
Does it take place in Brooklyn?
It does.
Actually?
It's Brooklyn. It's a cop procedural, but it's not really
Anywhere
focused too much.
around us?
I don't know. The Brooklyn Nine-Nine. We can look
it
up, but not really. I think they're more up by your mom, if I had to guess where they are.
And also, what exactly is it about?
It's about cops.
It's
They're
a
detectives.
cop show, but it's
They're all
funny?
detectives, and it's funny.
Okay.
And, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's not I don't know. It's not like Law and Order or anything like that. It's actually just a comedy that they happen to be detectives, and it's based
what else
in the precinct.
Has Andy
Samberg?
Samberg been in?
He was on SNL for a really long time.
Okay.
He did a lot of movies, and he is one of the original members of The Lonely Island.
Cool.
Yes.
I feel like that's not all you've watched since I've seen it. Since we've last had a podcast.
I've gone so deep into YouTube that I don't know what I was watching.
Uh-huh.
So deep into YouTube.
Yes.
I've been in the bowels of the internet, and I'm not sure I want to relive them. But yeah, a lot of YouTube. Lots.
You drank anything interesting?
Mostly beer. When you're not here,
What beers?
I mean, we've got the Tsingtao.
Tsingtao is a great beer.
I had I don't know, some shitty IPA that I grabbed from Jenny's.
What shitty? And Jenny's is our local.
It's our bodega, grocery
local
store.
deli.
Yeah. It was Sierra Nevada, something with a bright orange label.
Okay, sounds unforgettable.
It was not great. It took me a
Sounds
really
very
long
forgettable,
time to
I'm
finish
kidding.
the 6-pack, to be fair.
Oh, come on. I finished it in one night. About to pound 6 more beers.
I know.
So I can actually be hungover tomorrow.
Literally cannot just buy a 6-pack of beers because this kid just demolishes
Hey, I'm sorry.
my drinks on
I
me.
like beer.
And-
What's wrong? Yeah, you could have one too. You just gotta do it within the first night.
Sometimes I just want to have beer on deck, okay?
Yeah,
I need a brew on deck,
sometimes
and this kid, he's
I
like
to
it goes
have beer.
bad.
Beer goes bad.
Out of his mind. So yeah, I don't know.
Awesome.
I can't think of really too much else that I've been watching. I've been watching our videos at work, which is really awkward because I don't want anyone to see that I'm watching a video of myself.
Yeah, go check out our YouTube channel, Hungover Gaming on YouTube. It's real fun time. We play a lot of Overwatch there, and of course, Nikki has been filling in for Yvonne there as well.
I got it on the action, guys. I'm really bad.
And of course, you can find this in video
Super
form on
bad.
YouTube. But of course, we do. If I say "of course" again, I'm going to kill myself. But of course. You can go see us do a bunch of Let's Plays of a bunch of different games on that YouTube channel. But
I'm also having a White Russian currently. That's what we're drinking right now.
With
coconut milk, because we have some, and a little Kahlua.
Well, you're lactose intolerant. Can't really tell the difference. This coconut milk is pretty good.
Was it full fat? I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah. Yes, it's very fatty.
Tastes good.
Okay, so
what about you?
Moving on to me.
Julien.
I have actually been away in Tennessee, Oak Ridge specifically.
Tennessee.
It's a small area that you may know of from the Manhattan Project, completely steamrolled by the government in order to make a national lab there, which is where the topic is going to come from. But Oak Ridge, Tennessee is where I've been for the past 2 weeks doing research. So I've done quite a few things. But specifically I wanted to talk about in terms of media, of course, Destiny 2. Destiny 2 came out while I was there. For full disclosure, we're recording this on September 23rd, but the last podcast we recorded must have been...
It was in August.
I think
we recorded it right after my birthday.
It. Yeah, we pre-recorded a bunch of podcasts because I was going away.
Yeah.
So that's why we haven't talked about Destiny 2. Or I haven't anyways. Destiny 2, holy crap. I sunk a good 1,000 hours into the first Destiny. I love that game. I had a clan. Things were working out. We were raiding. We were doing all the things. We were hitting max light, etc. And this game drops, and holy god, they did a good job with it. I think they did a really good job with this game. Whereas a lot of people complained about the first Destiny not having much story.
I remember
much
you
of a
saying
story.
about that.
Hey, I fucking agree with them. It was a shit story. It's still a shit story, but it's a lot better in this game. I'll tell you that. No, I'm kidding. The story... I'm sorry?
Give me the coaster.
Oh, yeah. No, the story is actually pretty entertaining in this game. There's a really interesting protagonist, I think. And he basically is obviously going to destroy everything. And you have to save the world. The solar system, rather.
Wouldn't that make him the antagonist?
Sorry, antagonist. That's what I
was
meant.
going to say the protagonist of the game wants to destroy everything.
Yeah, you're the
Sign
protagonist.
me up.
And they're... Well, I just think they did a really good job of giving you a purpose to fight for, as opposed to the first Destiny, which who fucking knows what happened, until the Taken King, of course, expansion. And then they did a really good job with a bunch of the characters, fleshing them out and giving them backstories, the non-playable characters, of course. Ikora, Cade, Nine, and Zavala. Those are the three main characters that you follow in the story mode. And of course, there's all the obvious endgame goals that kept people coming back into Destiny 1, which is really what you're trying to get to. So the story is there to set you up. You're in this universe, and you have all these guns, and it's really cool. You understand the gameplay, and now you get to go do the fun stuff, which is the raid, Trials of the Nine, and of course, Crucible, and all that thing. So Crucible is PvP. For those of you who do not know what Destiny is, it's sort of like an MMO, so a massively multiplayer online game that is first-person, so it's a first-person shooter as well. It's made by Bungie, the creators of Halo, and so if you think that they carried over their pedigree of really good first-person shooter controls, you're absolutely correct. This game controls amazingly, and there are really cool guns in it. So because it's an RPG, you get all these different armor parts, and you're constantly grinding for loot in this game. So if you don't like loot grinding, spending countless hours doing the same activity just so you can get a better gun or a better armor piece, then this is not the game for you. But if that
like
sounds intriguing to you in the slightest, I assure you, you are about to get hooked. Definitely get this game. I think it's really awesome. They do a fantastic job with presentation. You can pick it up on PS4 and Xbox One. It's coming out on PC as well, which I'm also definitely getting it on because I need to experience it in 4K, 60 FPS. Let's go. It's going to be fucking awesome. And it runs on 30 FPS 4K on PlayStation 4 and Xbox. Out of my mind? Definitely. Do I enjoy being out of my mind? Definitely. Sure. All right. So sure. I played the crap out of that. I'm currently like, I feel so bad. Oh God, should I share my plans with this? Look,
no,
this clan.
No, you cannot talk about this.
Okay, yeah, this clan's still a mess, though. I'm gonna say.
You gotta pull it back together. Just pull it back together.
And I'm currently not the leader of the clan, even though I should be, which is my eventual goal. I'm the highest light level, the leader of the clan. He's a very nice man, very nice guy. He's got a family to take care of. He can't necessarily play the game 24/7 like me, so I understand. But, get on my level, Ash.
Hey, now, you need to bleep that out.
Lord Ash, that's his name. That's his name on PlayStation Network. Join our clan. You can join the Hungover Gaming clan in Destiny. I will try to make that. Maybe we can get some Destiny players out there.
Do it.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Do it.
Let's do it. I'll buy it. I'll buy the system. I'll get my own PC rig. I'll get a PlayStation.
That would be
sick.
We'll
do it. We'll set it up right in there.
I already have a power supply for you.
It'll be out of control. This apartment.
I also need a second
fuses.
PC so I can capture the video from my PC and stream it. You hype about that? Let's make a second PC. Okay. Anyways,
are we about to have a hub? Is that what you're saying? We're about to have a hub.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
We're gonna be out of control.
Okay, so anyways, guys, aside from Destiny 2, Marvel vs. Capcom the video games. So I'm telling you, everyone was saying the beginning of this year in terms of video games. I'm sorry this podcast got into a video gaming topical podcast.
It's fine.
It's just how it is, Nikki.
This is the channel it's
I
on.
really wanted to talk about this with Yvonne, but who fucking knows where he is, all right? So I got to tell you guys the facts. Everyone said 2017 was where it's at for video gaming in the beginning of the year. Oh my god, Neo, Persona 5, Nier Automata, Resident Evil 7, Mass Effect Andromeda. I can't handle it. Too many games. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. No, September is the fucking month, Nikki. Okay. I'm telling you. Destiny 2, Metroid Samus Returns,
You've been
Marvel
playing that.
vs. Capcom Infinite. And holy crap, coming out at the end of the month in 5 days, Gundam Versus. Good Jesus. That's in 1 month, Nikki. And I got them all. So you can bet
guys,
your bottom dollar there will be some
essentially,
Let's Plays
I'm single.
for Gundam Versus.
Essentially, I'm single.
I am in love with video games. Anyway, so go check all those games out. If they sound remotely interesting to you, play us. Because we will play you guys in those video games. So
if you really want to feel good about yourself,
then
I will
PlayStation.
I will play
play
Julien.
Also,
I'll play on Julian's tag, but it'll be me, and then you can just destroy me, and you'll feel really good about yourselves, and that'll be fun for everyone, right?
Basically, the consumption of media has been talked about. I played a bunch of video games. All right, I'll talk about my time in Tennessee later, but I also wanted to say that there are really great beers in Tennessee. That's what I was drinking a lot of. There's a local brewery from, can't name, maybe Knoxville, called Fat Bottom. Really good beer. I tried their, I think it's called IDA. It was basically an IPA, but it was more on the pale ale side, I guess. It was closer to a pale ale. And then we also tried their red ale. And then we also, and sorry, when I say we, I mean my lab partner and I, we were down there together. And then we also tried the Smoky Mountain Brewery beer. We actually went to one of their locations on site, and it was really good beer. There was we tried their red ale and also their cream ale. It was not bad. I highly suggest. There was a lot of good beer down there, a lot of microbreweries as well. And I suggest you guys check out any Tennessee beer. I can highly recommend. I had a lot of beer, so I can recommend a lot of them. Anyways, Nikki.
Yeah.
We've ranted enough about Destiny 2.
Media.
So let's jump ahead and media, of course, and beer and drinks. Let's jump ahead to the topic of the show. Now, the topic of the show, of course, stems from STEM. I didn't mean to make that pun. I don't even
Someone's dad's jokes are coming out.
They're coming out.
Oh,
so,
boy.
yeah, of course, if you follow the podcast at all, you know that I'm currently getting my PhD in chemistry. And that's why I like to talk a lot about science. So I recently, the last 2 weeks, of course, I went down to Tennessee, Oak Ridge, to go work at the National Lab down there where they did part of the research for the Manhattan Project. Of course, now it's a modern facility that's actually quite large. We had to drive, once you get through the checkpoint, and of course there's a lot of military stuff down there as well, as you can imagine. The government's involved. I think there's I think it's called a Y-12 security complex. We accidentally made, this is anecdotal and I totally lost track of what I was saying, but we accidentally, the first day we were going in, we accidentally made a turn into the Y-12 security complex. And their checkpoint there, basically, we were like, oh crap, where do we go? So we rolled up to the checkpoint and we asked the heavily armed man, where are we? How do we get to Oak Ridge National Lab? And he said, hold on, let me take your IDs and you guys go over there while I put you on your registry. So it's just standard procedure. And basically he had to take a picture of both of us and the license plate. And then he had to call over. He made us wait over there for 20 minutes. He had to call over another guy, I guess they're just military. I don't really know. Maybe they're
military police. They're MPs.
Okay, maybe they're military police. I'm not sure.
Were they wearing black?
I can't remember.
Probably MPs though.
No, I don't think he was wearing black. But yeah, so he basically called over another guy and told him to block traffic. These guys need to turn around. And then he said, do not take a right into this complex. Keep going that way.
Oh, God.
Move along. And they were very...
They thought you were
ridiculous.
Up to no good. Your two little shitbags who just got lost.
To get to... Oh, God. That was pretty... and that was us coming in on our first day, and he obviously made us late. But basically, I went to Oak Ridge, Tennessee to do some magnetic characterization, and I will be going there again in an undisclosed time in the future. I'm not sure. I have to go back.
You just don't know.
No, yeah, it's undisclosed because I don't know. We haven't exactly planned it out, but I'll be there for another 2 weeks doing some more characterization of the materials that I make. So I'm a materials chemist, so I make nanocrystals that can be used for energy storage, but I particularly am interested in multiferroic materials. You guys can look that up. I don't want to have a podcast explaining what a multiferroic is.
Why don't you leave some links down in the description bar? If people are interested in what you do, you can leave some links to some things.
I'll do that. If you guys are interested, sure. Absolutely, I'll do that. If I remember. if you don't see any links in the description, comment on this video.
Where are the links at,
Call
bitch?
me out because I should
BTS.
definitely... I might not remember. I'll try to definitely do that. But, or tweet at me. Whatever. So I went down there to do magnetic characterization using an MPMS, which is a magnetic property measurement system. It's a very lame acronym, I know. And it was basically pretty interesting to use. We had to cool things down to liquid helium temperatures, Nikki. Do you even know what temperature that is?
No, but I'm guessing you're going to tell me in Celsius.
Helium, I'm going to tell you in Kelvin.
Oh, shit.
Helium.
I wasn't ready.
Helium boils.
Y'all, I wasn't ready.
Boils, Nikki, at, I believe, somewhere around 4 or 5 Kelvin. Now, Nikki, do you know what the lowest temperature ever achieved was?
I know where the lowest temperature ever achieved was.
Where?
It was on UF's campus, right between the Martian. It was the Martian Science. Right under it, they have a lab, and it was the lowest temperature that's ever been reached. Yep, there's a mark right when you go to the French fries on UF's campus. There's a statue that looks like French fries. I'm guessing.
I don't exactly know what it is, but I'm guessing.
Zero.
No. 0 Kelvin is unachievable.
No, they got somewhere.
It's only theoretical.
Here, well,
absolutely 0.
I'll tell you right now what
Kelvin. But I'm guessing it was less than 1 Kelvin, probably 0.001 Kelvin or something around there. But yeah, if you want to look up what absolute 0 is, go ahead and do that. Maybe I'll put that in the description as well. So basically, I wanted to talk about what it's like to work in a lab, specifically a national lab. So when we rolled in, it was everyone...
Damn.
What?
A NASA satellite took it from you, F.
Okay, what is it?
I'll find it. Hold on.
Okay. Sorry. Anyways, so we come in and we had to go to the visitor center first. This is, again, a national lab run by the government. All the faculty are government employees, and then there are visiting scholars and scientists that come in, particularly, I guess, like me. What you have to do in order to work there is to use their facilities, that is. Say you see a facility on their website and you think that's really interesting and could help you further your scientific knowledge, etc. You have to write a proposal, which for Oak Ridge National Lab, particularly the Nanoscience Division, was a 2-page proposal, so a very short and succinct proposal. Outlining, you have to explain what your material system is, and you have to explain what you want to do there specifically, what materials, what instruments you want to use, and etc. like that. And then you have to send that in, and then it has to be approved. And then once it's approved, you have they'll give you access to the facilities during a certain time period, and you can use them for free essentially. So as long as you get yourself down there, right? So that's what we did. We drove all the way down from New York City. Perhaps not the smartest idea. It's an 11-hour drive. Because I think next time we're going to just fly. But we brought all our chemicals and all our things to be characterized. What is it? Oh, negative 273.15 degrees. It's wait. Oh, 0.14. Oh, so they got to 0.011 degree. 0.019 Kelvin. That's pretty low.
Prior to that, it was.
I think they use that temperature to cool down the CPU core of a quantum computer that is held at a private company right now. Anyways, yeah, I think I saw a video on that. My point was, yeah, so you have to write this proposal. Once it's accepted, you're granted access, and you can come down to the National Lab and use the facility, meeting with a person that you're basically working under that's in charge of that instrument. So I worked with a certain professor. She was definitely a doctor. She has a PhD. I don't know if she was a professor. I don't know if you can be a professor there. If you are,
she might have been a professor at one point.
She was definitely, yeah, sure. She was definitely a staff, governmental staff that worked at this lab full time, and she basically, I'm guessing it's hit or miss with these people, with anyone that you work for, obviously. So luckily enough, she was very kind to us, and she was very, quick and to the point. She wanted to get things done, but she was also really nice about it and very accommodating and helped us out. So basically, you end up showing up there, and you're like, holy crap, this is a national lab. Everything's amazing here. But you have to drive. It's a huge campus. This is I don't know how big UF is, but you can walk across it eventually, right?
I mean, not really.
Yeah.
Yes, but not. You
how
can,
long does
but
it take?
I mean, UF's campus has an entire cancer research lab plus an entire veterinary clinic, including an equine farm.
Okay, how long would it take you to walk from one end to the other end of campus?
Probably 2 hours, maybe.
2 hours? Okay, so then maybe this national lab is about that
Shands
size.
To the equine farm. UF is massive.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that this lab is about that size because we were driving for like 5 to 10 minutes to get from the visitor center to where we needed to work, and that was only one building, and there were many buildings, including one that we actually talked to I think he's a geographer. He's a computer programmer, but he was programming he was working on a huge program in deep learning. So that's another thing to look up, deep learning. But basically, he was helping out working on this project where they were trying to map all of the buildings and count all the buildings on the planet of Earth.
Dope.
And in order to get an estimate of, say, specifically, this is interesting now because of all these hurricanes that are coming up. Once those hurricanes hit, like in Puerto Rico, you're going to... Who can contact anyone in Puerto Rico right now?
There's almost no access to
exactly.
Puerto Rico.
So this is where this project comes in that this guy was working on. Sorry, I'm jumping from point to point. This is exactly how scientists work. I'm sorry about that. Especially when we talk about our research. This guy, his project that had, I think, 160 people on, so we were lucky to talk to this guy, I guess. Basically, is counting every building on the planet of Earth. So when there's no power and they know where a natural disaster hit, they can have a good estimate of how many people they're looking for, how many people generally live in that area, and then also so they can prepare accordingly and send rations, etc.
They'll know the type of building, the number of people likely to be in that area, and
so they're basically compiling a huge database of every building on the planet.
That's really cool.
Also kind of creepy, but also
horrifying, and
also
real, awesome.
But for their purposes, really useful, awesome.
Skynet.
Basically Skynet, yes. But yeah, and also they're using a deep learning. I don't know. Anyways, so that's just one project that's going on at Oak Ridge National Lab. We wanted to use this MPMS to make magnetic measurement to measure the magnetization of our materials, and it was fairly simple to use. So we basically learned how to use it fairly quickly. It's actually pretty funny how we load our samples in, we literally use a straw. So just the straws that you can buy, the straight straws.
Like an actual,
yeah.
like a drinking straw.
Yeah. So we use that, and I mean, we put our samples were powder, and we fold in a piece of weighing paper with some grease on it to hold the powder in together. And then we fold that up and put it in the straw and put it in the middle of the straw and then put it into the instrument. And then it's cooled down. And it's actually a really cool instrument. Basically, it oscillates your sample in a copper coil. And that basically, when you move a magnet in a coil, it should create current. And that is the measurement of your magnetization, essentially. You can, I won't try to explain it right now. But yeah, so it's a really interesting time. So I wanted to speak about, I guess, etiquette. Everyone was, maybe it's different, and this is obviously only American National Labs. It's probably pretty different at Oak Ridge as opposed to Brookhaven or Argonne National Lab. Because it's in the South, so everyone was really nice. And I also wanted to say, Tennessee, or Oak Ridge specifically as a city, we were out multiple places. It's not that large of a place. Multiple places, different times of the day. We only saw white people, except for when we were in the lab. So the lab is probably the most diverse area of Oak Ridge. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Maybe this is just how it happened. Or maybe there's a lot of racism. I don't know, Nikki, all right? But I'm just telling you.
It's the racism.
I did see some Confederate flags. Okay, but anyways, Tennessee, great place. Had a good time. Maybe you can do a Tennessee or a Southern podcast where I
was going to say, yeah, I mean... We could probably talk about the South. I know some things about the South. But yeah, this lab...
I guess, yeah, the lab, I mean, it was... We had to work long hours, I guess, but luckily our... So obviously the amount of time that you're working there is dictated by your work. So our measurements took 8 hours. I had 5 samples, and my lab mate had 4 samples, so we had to do... at least 9 8-hour measurements, but there was nothing we could do after we set up the measurement. The measurement would run for 8 hours, so we actually had kind of a nice vacation. We would go in the morning after the first couple of days, of course. Once we figured out how to efficiently run this instrument, we would basically come in the morning, set up our measurement, and then come back at 5. And then set up another measurement that would go overnight, and then rinse and repeat. But of course, maybe it's different for other national labs, specifically Oak Ridge. We were told that you were allowed to come in as early because we got access badges. So this access badge, visitor's pass, let us get through the checkpoint, also let us get into the building. It's basically a key. So, and also, each lab has a locked door that you need access to through your access badge. So everything is very highly secured. That's, I guess, take it as you will. That's just how it is there. Everything is really highly secured, so everything's really safe, but also really closed off. So if you don't have access to a certain lab, you don't have access to it. But yeah, so also, what else? I was trying to say... Yeah, so obviously your work, so your work is dictated by your work, obviously, or the times that you're there is dictated by how you're working. So basically she was telling, scientists are used to working long hours, or specifically the physical chemistry, the hard sciences are used to working long hours in the lab. So you might be doing that. So she was telling us that you could, or the person that was in charge of us, was telling us that you could come in as early as 5 a.m., but you wouldn't be allowed into the building after around 5 p.m., but you could obviously stay in the building after 5 p.m. until around 8 p.m. or so, I think. So you can come in at 5 and leave at 8. And then we asked about, obviously, scientists are also used to working on the weekends. So we asked about coming in on the weekends, and she said, no, you're not allowed to come in on the weekends. We won't have weekend access. So maybe some scientists have weekend access there, but visiting scientists, like my lab mate and I, are not allowed to come in on the weekends. So maybe that's some sort of governmental thing, unionized, etc. I don't know.
It might just be because you're visiting and they want to give access to the machinery on the weekends to the people who aren't visiting.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure she was allowed to come in.
It could just be fucking governments.
Yeah.
Government's real hard on the weekends.
So they're a little more strict on the times that you're allowed to access this area. So I mean, as you would expect. And then everyone there was very nice to us. It seemed like they were all just they're all just being scientists, so they're all just curious about what we did, what we're here for, and that's it. So as long as you can present your data and etc. and explain yourself, then you'll be fine there. And everyone was really nice, but I think that's just how the South is, right?
I mean, I think that's every professional environment, to be fair. I've worked in a lot of different places, from, like, really professional to not very professional, and I think most people will be kind to other people, especially when they're visiting, because you don't want to give your lab a bad name.
Yeah.
But yeah, the South in general is pretty nice. There's a lot of nicknames and a lot of sugarcoating introductions. So, I mean, it was probably a little extra nicer than what you're used to in New York, because everyone's like, gotta do things, gotta go fast, gotta be where I need to be, So.
Well, I mean, I guess, and then obviously there's just always people there. So it's a huge facility. So the difference, maybe if you're thinking about working in chemistry or physics or something like that, you found this podcast, whatever, or you just want to know. Depends on the size of where you work. Obviously, can vary a lot. So from national lab to university university to university can vary a lot.
Yes.
So my college is kind of it's not that small, but it's kind of on the smaller size in terms of colleges because it's in New York City. Yeah. So our lab space it's really, I'm lucky to be in a new building.
It's beautiful.
It's really nice.
It's a beautiful lab.
But it's kind of small. There aren't that many people that work in the building. So there will be times, like I come in early in the morning and there's no one on my floor because everyone's lazy. I'm kidding. They're not lazy.
They're grad students.
Yeah.
They're probably like up until 4 a.m. working on something and then like just need to sleep.
Just need to sleep. But I come in early because I like to do that. But that's just how I work.
Also, the earlier you get on the D train, the less congestion and like traffic issues.
It's very specific timing, Nikki, and I've got it down to a T.
I know.
But I'm not kidding. If I miss one of these trains, the next one's going to be super busy.
Super busy, and you're going to hit all of the rush hour traffic, and it's going to take you probably an extra 35 minutes to get to work.
But anyways, aside from that, so yeah, it contrasts from the lab. It's a lot more uptight, I want to say.
Not as informal.
You always feel like you're kind of being watched in this government lab.
You are being watched.
The answer is yes, you are obviously being watched. These things are highly under guard, and I mean, the person was really nice, and she actually let us use the instrument by ourselves. Eventually, not only she actually wasn't even there for the last 3 days of our trip there because she had to go somewhere else. So maybe I was lucky with her. She was very, very accommodating, and she was very nice to us. So she let us use, and I think she understood that this instrument couldn't really be broken by any means. Especially,
it probably depends on what you're using and like how the person feels about your skill level and ability to be responsible. I'm sure you and your lab partner were on the same page of being, respectful.
Of course, yeah. So obviously what you want to do is just be respectful of the stuff. Don't mess up anything. Don't work in anyone else's space. So, yeah, we sort of felt like we didn't have any space that we could work in. Ask as many questions as you can, definitely, so you know for sure, because we were working in a lab, but this lab had 3 or 4 more instruments in it, so obviously it was a shared space. We were only using one instrument there, and we only had a very specific area of the bench that we could work on. And so you really want to know exactly where you can work, because people have their routine at these places, and they need to be working fast, and they need to be getting things done. And if you move anything out of the way, or you screw, you could mess up. Obviously, this is just work, lab protocol in general. So
don't touch people's
work. Don't. Yeah, if you don't know what it is, don't touch it. Right? Yeah. Or ask someone what it is.
Just don't touch things at all, and should
figure it out. But specifically in a government lab, a national lab, don't touch anything unless you know what you're doing. All right? So it sort of felt exactly like that. So it felt like we were really pressured to just not touch anything.
That's how I feel most.
And that's probably tough for a scientist, because you want to know what things are and you want to figure things out. So it was really, we felt like we were being watched the whole time. So it was highly pressured, but it was also kind of laid back because we were by ourselves for half of the trip. So I mean, that's my experience there. I won't belabor the point. This particular trip wasn't, in terms of the science that we did, was not very exciting. I mean, we got conclusive data, happy for that, but in terms of the things that we were doing there, not too interesting. Nothing really. We were just doing the same measurement 9 times. So once we got it down, we got it down.
Okay.
And nothing went wrong. So can't complain. And I just wanted to share that with you guys. I don't know if you have any lab experiences to share.
Well, I'm going to make a pun now. I have lab experience, but it's with Labradors. Hey! I didn't actually work in a traditional lab any of the times that I was doing research when I was in my undergrad. And I probably will work in a lab at some point with Hunter, but I haven't gotten there. But I did get to play with puppies at a shelter for about 6 weeks, and it did count toward research work, and I'm probably like the 40th name on a project somewhere that I don't even know about. So that was pretty cool. So, but it's the same thing implies, right? We were working in a shelter, like an animal shelter, and you would go there and you were respectful of the people who worked there, and you set up and you did what you needed to do, and you were mindful of it, and when the puppies inevitably peed on the floor, you cleaned it up, and it was, But yeah, and I haven't ever worked in a fancy lab. I did once spill beer all over your fancy lab.
Yeah, it wasn't the lab.
No, it was a conference room.
Yeah, just as bad. And of course, these facilities all are outfitted with crazy conference rooms all over the place. So, because scientists need a place to present their work.
Yeah, they need to talk to other people.
Any moment. Yeah, we were asked to present our work twice there. In our one trip, so because we were working with 2 different people, we're going to work with 2 different people. So the second visit, now we know we don't have to present to them again. But so obviously that's how scientists communicate. We talk about our work with PowerPoint slides. So, and that's all you're worth. So figure it out. Anyways, if you have any scientific questions, whether it be your homework, chemistry homework specifically, I don't do anything else, or just questions about getting into a PhD program, etc. You can send them in.
We've talked to you guys about this before. You want to know about the educational process and the application processes. We're here to talk and help. We know school just started again, and people who probably have a lot of academic anxiety. So if you want to talk to people about that, we're here. We've been through it. We're totally willing to talk and help.
And Yvonne and I had a topic on education, specifically the educational system of America. If you go back into the podcast history, go ahead and check that out. And then Nikki and I talked about grad school, because we're both in grad school, on another podcast, at the same podcast that, Hungover podcast, not a different podcast. But anyways, we talked about that on a podcast as well. So go ahead and check that one out. Specifically, those 2 relate to this one. But of course, we have 30 other episodes.
We could also do more stuff about school and education. Julien, myself, and Yvonne have all gone to higher ed, so we're more than qualified.
We're all in grad school.
We're more than qualified to tell you about the pain and suffering of life in grad school.
Yeah, so if you have any questions about grad school or working in a lab or working in a national lab, go ahead and send them in to gaminghungover@gmail.com, or you can tweet at us at gaming, or get in the DMs at gaminghungover. Unfortunately, we couldn't get hungover gaming, so all our social media is gaming hungover. So that's unfortunate for us. But anyways, you can go contact us maybe when we get big. So you can go contact us there. It's all in the description below, of course. So if you didn't understand a word I said, at least it's in the description. So Nikki, of course, we always end our podcast in a song, in a segment.
I've got a song today, Julien.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, it's the Destiny 2 original soundtrack, track 01, Inner
Thanks,
Light.
Nikki.
I chose it because you know how much I've been playing Destiny 2 right now.
I know
really,
you need
I
to
wanted
level
everybody...
up that hunter so you get that platinum trophy.
Listen, I'm trying to platinum trophy.
Okay.
I'm trying to platinum
Get that platinum
everything.
trophy.
Platinum everything.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's the song I've chosen for you guys today.
Okay, well let me explain what this segment is, Nikki. I'm sorry. So Hungover Radio is the segment that we end this podcast in. You can send your song in where you wrote, co-wrote, produced, sang a song.
You're a SoundCloud rapper? We're into it.
Yeah, played your instrument on, or maybe your friend's music if you want them to have some free advertisement. We always play a song at the end of the podcast. If no one sends in their song, it doesn't, and if you send in your song, it will only be in the audio portion of the podcast, so we avoid copyright strikes. But of course, we'll also link you in the description for YouTube, of course. But today's song is going to be a video game song, as usual, because I love video games and video game music. So go ahead and check out Destiny 2 original soundtrack, Track 01, Inner Light. This song is really cool. It really gives me the goosebumps sometimes because I like Destiny so much. I think Destiny 2 and Destiny, they got a really good composer, and they do an excellent job of making you feel like you're in a really epic situation and all that stuff. So I think they did a really good job with the music in this game. So we're gonna play that song for you, Inner Light. This song is really good, I think, and sets the tone for the game. So go ahead and check it out if you're not listening to it already, because it's playing right now. Oh my god. So until next time, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the topic. Keep the conversation going in the comment section below, or tweet on Twitter at us, etc. Do the things. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace out.